When electric cars first came to America, they were small, they were slow, and they didn't go very far. And everyone said the same thing. When they can go as far as a car can on a tank of gas, when they'll go as fast as a Mustang or Camaro, well then I will buy one. Well, guess what? Then is now. The Kia EV6 does not look like any Kia you've ever seen before. It also doesn't function like any Kia you've ever driven before or anyone's ever driven before. It is brand new from the ground up. Kia's actually rethought everything about electric cars, how they function, how we function in them, and how they not only deliver a great drive experience, but also great efficiency. So you'll see on the front of the EV6, it looks like a sports car. It has these very sleek proportions. It has this really beautiful silhouette. Even from the rear, it looks more like a European sports car than it does a crossover or an SUV. But when you're standing next to it, it has SUV proportions. It's tall. It has 6.3 inches of ground clearance. It has a nice hip point or hip height for the seats, which means getting in and out is really easy. Back here on the rear, well, it's got these nice flush door handles that fall flush when the car is driving or when the car is locked. Back here, it has this rear spoiler that doubles as a light bar. So you'll see these lights across, and then it has the new, very modern Kia logo. In the rear cargo area, there is a lot of cargo space. So it is a hatchback, or it has a hatchback type shape. So you don't have all the space you would have in an SUV, but you do have a lot of space. And then under here, you've even got a little more storage and a place to keep your charge cords and your tire repair kit if you should have a low air situation in your tire. The Kia EV6 shares a wheelbase with the Telluride, which means it's really spacious inside, but it's only about an inch longer than the Kia Forte, which means it really does have a compact size and feel. It'll fit in a small parking spot, but because it has that same wheelbase as the Telluride, it is really spacious inside. The Kia EV6 model that we're test driving is red. It's called Runway Red, but the interior is really incredible too. Let me show you. In the driver's seat of the EV6, there are a lot of really great amenities and features. It's really comfortable. It's really open and airy. It's surprising how comfortable and open and airy this car is, considering it's sort of a compact quasi-SUV, a crossover you might call it. So there's also some really different, the EV6 also has a really different look and feel. So a couple of things I want you to notice. One is this cantilevered center console. There's space underneath here where you can put something kind of large. I have a very large can of disinfecting wipes. I also have a little purse down here. You could put actually a pretty sizable handbag in here, and that is very impressive. I also like how the center console is all angled to the driver. So all of my key controls are right here. Wireless charge pad, cup holders are right here. My parking sensor, parking cameras, my gear selector, my stop and start button. So start it and look, my seat moves. And then here we have all of the other commands are here on the dashboard. And you can connect to Apple CarPlay here, and you can also connect to Alexa, which is part of the Kia suite of connected car services. There is a sunroof, which opens with the push of a button. It's a large sunroof. Actually, the glass goes way back there, even though it only comes this far back, just really over the front seat. We asked Kia why there's not a panoramic sunroof in this car, and it's simply because of the weight. They felt that the trade-off was not as great as it might be, because the panoramic sunroof weighs 200 pounds, so you're basically going to sacrifice electric miles to have that panoramic sunroof. Now, If you ask me, I would take the Pano sunroof and sacrifice the miles, but they didn't do that. They want as many miles as possible on a charge, so that's why no panoramic sunroof. Although we do have a regular sunroof, and that's nice. If you live in a place where you really need your sun, especially in the winter, you can have it in the EV6. Down here, there also is a flat floor, and there are two charging ports, one standard USB and one USB-C. The rear seat in the Kia EV6 is really big, and I mean it's really big. We say that a lot, there's plenty of leg room and that kind of thing. I'm 5'8", this is set for my drive position. I have quite a lot of space. I can easily cross my legs. It's a flat floor because it's an EV, it's a flat floor. All the batteries are underneath the floor of the car, which is also what gives it its really nice ground clearance. But this is really spacious and it's really comfortable. The vegan leather is nice. It's vegan leather here and suede here. So this part is suede here, but then this part is leather. There is cup holders here in the fold down armrest, pretty standard thing. And there are two USB ports back here and a household plug. The USB ports are right here in the seat back. This is something that Kia and its siblings, Hyundai and Genesis, love to do, which is the seat's already powered because it's a power seat. So they love to put these USB chargers here. These are USB-C chargers. There's only one standard USB and the other three are USB-C chargers. So get your modern cords together for your trip in the EV6. There are lights here. There is not climate back here, but this is a nice open space here between the seats. So the vents are right there. It's not a stretch to think that the air can reach you pretty easily. You don't feel blocked off by the front seat. I do like how these headrests are slender and how they extend out. And so what they've done is they keep all of the, you can see how it's extends here, and what they've done is they've kept all of the safety that is necessary for, that's what these are for. They're really not to rest your head, they're to protect your head in an accident, and they've kept the safety function, but then they've actually, because these are shaped like this, they've actually opened up the space, so the cabin feels much more open and airy than you might think looking at it from the outside. And I will say this area back here is there's a small rear window, and in the back seat, if you're looking forward, it feels great, but if you're looking this way, you will feel like you don't have a lot of visibility. The other thing I would say about rear seat passengers is driving in level 0, level 1 for regen braking is going to be way more comfortable than driving in, say, iPedal or the max regen setting, because you do really feel the, until the driver gets good at it, you do really feel the slowing of the car, the sudden slowing of the car. And that is likely to make some people feel a little car sick if they're sitting in the back. So drivers, get good at your one pedal driving, or switch it into 0 to level 0 regen braking, and it'll feel like any other car. The control panels and the dashboard in the Kia EV6 are designed to give you everything at your fingertips intuitively and to make everything very easy to reach. So it starts with a wireless charge pad here. They have your drive mode selector is here. So you dial it to go into drive neutral or reverse, sorry. There's our reverse image, and that's your camera. And look how nice this image is. You get a surround view image here, and then you get the rear view image here, and this whole screen is 12.3 inches. So that's a pretty nice, clear, and wide view. And then push the button for park. Once you, interestingly, when you do put it in reverse, your side mirrors tilt down. We're at least in the GT version that we're driving. This is the main screen for the multimedia system. There is a home button there. You can also use these hot buttons here. This is a screen, so it's just, you just touch it for navigation, to go to map, to hear your favorites. You can go to radio, media, etc. So I'm going to turn that off. We don't need that. And then you can also see, look how clever this is. You can also see the battery charge level. This is where the battery lives in this car, right on the floor underneath the passenger compartment of the car. And it shows us that we have over 200 miles of range left. On the steering wheel, you have drive mode selector here, so you can see we're in sport now. You can see that there's red that shows up here. Now we're in eco, sport, and normal. There's normal. And so normal has this sort of these almost this textured shapes on either side of the speedometer. And then you can also use this button here to customize what you're seeing. So you can see navigation, you can see your tire pressure. You can look and see which of your adaptive driver assist systems are being used right there, which is a nice thing to see. And then you also have your battery level down here. If you would like to, and let's go. So I'm going to go to the home button, because one of the things that you can do in here is you can set your, because we're in the GT version, you can set up your head-up display. And this head-up display has augmented reality, which means that it overlays graphics over the information to show you, like it'll give you arrows to show you which way your next turn is and that kind of thing. We've been using the built-in navigation today, and it's been really great. It does interrupt you to tell you, give you voice directions for each turn, but it also shows you here, and then you also see your turns in the head-up display, which is pretty nice. All in all, pretty nice selection of features. I really do like how they put these controls here, and you can then further customize, and you can actually, even if you want to, you can actually even customize this screen by holding and positioning it someplace else. So I don't want the valet mode here. I'm gonna go back. Really nice, and it has a very nice modern feel and function to it. So I have 166 miles left on my range. We're gonna drive down the mountain. I'm not going to fully take my foot off the accelerator, although I am in iPedal mode. And as we go down the mountain, two things are going to occur. One is the iPedal system will actually replenish some of the miles on the battery range. We're at 915 miles on the odometer, and we have 166 miles. So let's see how far we go and how much of the battery range we use, or if we recoup any. I'm not going to take my foot fully off of the accelerator, but the other thing that's going to happen is as we go around curves, rather than hitting the brake, I'm going to just lift my foot gently off the accelerator to slow to go around these curves. Well, the nice thing is that I don't have to hit the brake. And when you're driving on mountain roads and curvy roads, if you have to hit the brake or have your foot constantly on the brake, you risk having those brakes fail. They overheat and they can actually wear down. Often trucks will have accidents where the brakes fail because they've been braking too much with too heavy of a load going down a mountain. Well, the electric motor, the EV, and regenerative braking changes all of that. So it uses this regenerative system to slow you going down the hill. It uses your own gravity to slow you going down the hill. And you don't have to hit the brake at all. All I have to do is lift my foot gently. All right, so we've gone a mile, we've gained a mile. That is great. Now, the reverse happens when you go up the mountain. I had 180 miles when I started going up the mountain, and by the time I got to the top of the hill where I turned around to come back down the mountain, I had gone from 180 to 166 miles. So definitely lost a little bit there. We're probably not going to gain back all 14 miles. I highly doubt that, because we are using power to power the EV6. But let's see where we get when we get to the bottom of the mountain. The other thing that I noticed in driving the EV6 on this road is how it responds. It drives so nicely. It does not feel like an SUV. It feels more like a car. I feel very in command and very in control. It's easy to drive. It's fun on these curves. I really do like this road a lot. A lot of fun on these curves, and it's super responsive. So as I come around these corners, around these curves, the car just leans right into the curves and gives me a lot of control. And that's what you want in a sports car, a car that drives and feels like a sports car. And that was the design of the EV6, to give you a low center of gravity, to give you a high ground clearance and hip height. And the reason you have that is because the batteries are underneath the passenger cabin. And then to give you a responsive drive experience. So this is an all-wheel drive, and that means that all four wheels are getting power when they need it, which is also adds to, since every wheel has grip, is gripping the road, that gives you a little more command in every corner, as opposed to the rear wheel just pushing you through. It's also nice to have this just quiet ride. I certainly don't hear engine noise, but I'm not also hearing any road noise. I don't hear the tires. It could be the road that we're on, and it could be that that's something that you hear more on the highway, you know, on an interstate highway or something like that. But I don't hear a lot of noise. It's a very quiet cabin. And I've been driving by myself all day, so I haven't had people to talk to. And that's where you really notice how quiet a car is whether or not you can have a good conversation with your passengers. So I haven't noticed, haven't been able to try that out really, but I will say it's quiet. When I've had the music on and listening to the sound system, they have a premium Meridian sound system in this car, and having the radio on or having the music on and being able to listen to that has been lovely. Being able to have a phone call has been really nice. And then also just driving, and there was one point where I drove and I was able to hear birds in a field nearby, and that's not, and windows were closed, so that's not something that I'm used to hearing or experiencing when I'm driving, but it's something that I do really, really like and appreciate. So we're at the bottom of the hill. We went 4 miles. We went from 167 to 170 miles on our range. So we gained back 3 miles, which was pretty nice. How cool is that? When you hit the lock button, the handles go flush with, or when you step up with the key, because it is a smart key, and the side mirrors fold in. That is just one of the cool things about the Kia EV6. This is the GT edition. It is the one that's loaded with all the bells and whistles, including head-up display. And it has a sunroof. Not all the models have a sunroof. The GT model has a starting price of about $55,000. The Light edition, which is the base model, starts at about $40,000. All of the EV6s qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit. Most states also have a tax credit, and many utilities have a tax credit too. So look for that money where it exists if you buy an electric car. Final thoughts on the Kia EV6. This is the car we've been waiting for. We know the world is going electric, but the nice thing here is 18 minutes to charge 217 miles. That's pretty stellar. 320-mile range, that also is pretty great. Tons of space. You feel good about these interiors, and the interiors feel good. They're vegan. And then in the GT model, you get all the features you want in your car, whether it's electric or gas. This was a joy to drive, and I can't wait to drive it again.